We are back for another Ask HR episode. If this is your first time listening, welcome and thank you for tuning in. Ask HR is the podcast dedicated to being your trusted resource outside of your company walls. We are an external human resources department answering HR questions with expert insight and practical solutions, covering broader topics and people and culture. I'm your host, Yuslin Beto-Young. Let's get started. Did you know how we form our questions can significantly influence the outcome of our conversations? This week, I am sharing a new coaching skill that I've recently learned, and it's asking questions for impact. There is research in behavior economics found that slight changes in a question's wording can have a big impact on people's choices. I'm talking about the framing effect. So in this episode this week, we'll learn why asking more questions is a crucial skill for us leaders, that when we shift from giving answers to asking impactful questions, we're not just guiding our team, we're also empowering them to think critically, to own their solutions, and to grow. This is a fundamental move from a telling mindset to a coaching mindset. And leaders who ask more questions are seen as more valuable by their direct reports because this approach helps the team to feel understood and valued, to clarify their own thinking and develop independent problem-solving skills, as well as take ownership of problems and engaging in the outcomes. Here's how I learned the framing effect. It was through 3 powerful techniques of reframing questions. The first technique is reverse the focus for a different and new perspective. And all that means is this technique is excellent for identifying blind spots. We all have them. And it also helps to uncover what might be missing. It's about looking at a problem from a completely different angle. It's similar to our what if framework. Here's an original question for this technique. What do we need to do to improve our customer service ratings? And the reframe question would be, what are we doing that might be hurting our customer service ratings? This reframe question flips the focus from proactive improvement to identifying and getting rid of the negative factors. It encourages the team to think about things they might be doing unknowingly that are causing friction for the customers. The next technique is try introducing a constraint to force a different thinking. This method is perfect for getting people to break from the routine thinking and to focus on the most essential high impact actions. It's about creating a sense of urgency that's going to force the team to now prioritize. Here's an original question. What's our plan for launching the new product next quarter? And the reframe question is, if we could only do 3 things to launch this product successfully, what would they be? Now, by forcing the team to pick just 3 things, you're making them to cut through all the noise and stay focused on the absolute non-negotiables, which will also spark conversations about what truly drives success and what's just nice to have. And now, let's hear from one of our collaborators, Inspo, the social network and content marketplace for knowledge sharing, industry insights, and thought leadership.
Feeling lost in the noise of social media? Inspo cuts through the clutter, connecting you directly with real insights from real experts and industry leaders. It's a new social network dedicated to knowledge sharing, industry insights, and thought leadership. Get the latest from top minds in your field, or build your own thought leadership portfolio on Inspo. Already trusted by thousands of professionals worldwide, be part of the conversation and download Inspo Experts today on the App Store or visit www.inspo.expert.
And so our last technique is to connect emotionally to your future self. So this is a powerful way to tap into the wisdom of insight without having to wait or to tap into the wisdom of other thought leaders like moi. This technique helps a person to step out of the current mindset and to look at their situation with a greater perspective and clarity. Here's the original question. What's a better way to handle this challenging client? And the reframe question would be, if you were looking back on this situation a year from now, what advice would you give yourself about how to handle this client? And this reframe question encourages the team member to think beyond the immediate frustration with the client and imagine themselves having already solved the problem and can offer a wiser, more strategic perspective. It's a great way to move them towards a more positive and proactive solution. Okay, some of you may already be familiar with this framing effect. And it's a concept that's been on my mind recently as I've been using these learned techniques, because it made me wonder about how often are we influenced by the questions we ask ourselves and others without even realizing it. And so I am sharing how I learned to be more intentional about this skill and asking questions for impact so that you can choose the one that feels right for you in your team's situation. As we wrap up this lesson on the framing effect, it's clear to me that the way we ask a question is just as important as the question itself. By intentionally rephrasing our question, we can truly transform our conversations and empower others and our team. And before we wrap up our episode, thank you to our sponsor, YP Personnel Management and Consulting. YPPMC goes beyond the traditional HR consulting by offering a comprehensive suite of HR services and compliance. Visit yppmc.com and book your free consultation today. We are your resources at work. Remember, one of the goals is not to have all of the answers to any and all questions, but to ask the question that help your team to find their own. And by shifting your approach from telling to asking and coaching, you're building a more engaged, resourceful, and confident team. So think of the 3 questions. Which one did you know of or have used? And which one might you be excited to try out with your team and soon? And that is going to wrap up this week's Ask HR episode. If you have a question for the show, send it to askhr@yppmc.com. Listen to us now on Spotify or your favorite podcast platform. And before you sign off, don't forget to subscribe, follow, share, and engage with us.